Hi there, it's Kute here, sending you big love wherever you are around the world watching this right now. I trust you're well and amazing. In today's short video, I wanted to address the issue that has often come up on the Facebook page, my Facebook fan page, of how do you stop being responsible? Responsible for other people outside of you. How do you stop being responsible for those that you love, those that you care for, your friends, your family, your children, your spouse, your parents, your kids, your loved ones, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, especially for some of us who are really caring, or some of us who are really loving and spiritual, and we're big-hearted and we want to make a difference. We don't want to see anyone else suffering. We don't want to see anyone else in pain, especially maybe if we're empathic and we feel people, or we're highly sensitive people. So how do you not take on other people's stuff? How do you not take on other people's stuff to the point where it might paralyze you? How do you not take on other people's stuff to the point where it's painful, where you're feeling everything and everyone, and now you want to save everyone? And you get what I'm saying. How do you stop being responsible for other people? Ultimately, you first have to realize, it's one thing to care for someone and have a level of responsibility. What you also have to realize is you are responsible for who you are being. You are responsible for how you communicate. You are responsible for yourself, for your communication, for how you show up with those around you. This is what you are responsible for. But you can't necessarily be responsible for how your communication lands and how people interpret what you're saying. So if you're someone you're so sensitive and you don't want to speak the truth to someone, you don't want to say something that might hurt someone, I believe ultimately the truth serves everyone, even though it doesn't seem that way at first, so long as you are communicating it with love, with compassion, with care. And you also have to realize that you are not responsible for anyone. Really, you're not responsible for anyone's happiness. You're not responsible in that sense. And sometimes we can care so much that we take on too much responsibility, and we're afraid of, oh my God, if I shine my light, if I'm magnificent, if I let myself succeed to that next level, they'll get hurt, they'll feel bad. So, we take on responsibility sometimes to the degree that we contract ourselves, we restrict ourselves, we play small because we don't want those around us to feel uncomfortable. That is not your job. Being responsible for how other people feel, in a sense, is not your job. It doesn't mean you can't be sensitive, doesn't mean you can't be compassionate and empathic and caring, but you also have to give the responsibility back for how people are going to show up and interpret and feel and respond and react to who you're being. You have to give that responsibility back to them. And what you also have to realize is that no matter what anyone is going through, maybe they're feeling sad and you're feeling it, maybe they're going through a tough time and you're feeling it, you can be loving, you can be caring, but what you have to realize is you can't do it for them. I believe that each human being, each of us, we're souls, we incarnate as souls into this human experience, because we have specific lessons that we are uniquely here to learn. My lessons are going to be different from your lessons, and your lesson is going to be different from Susie's lessons. Susie's lesson is going to be different from Dalai Lama's lessons. Everyone's going to have different lessons. Some people go through rape, trauma, abuse. Some people, born into rich families. Some people are abandoned. Some people go to 17 schools, boarding schools around the world. I mean, the varied experience is really what makes us who we are. So we each incarnate because there's certain lessons that we are on this planet to learn. So what you have to trust in this human experience is to trust the process of life, and trust that every single person in your life, your friends, your loved one, your children, every single human being on this planet, they have their own unique soul's lessons to learn. That you may not see those soul's lessons. You might see them going through pain and suffering. You might be able to see what they should be doing instead, but you have to allow that person the dignity of their own process. You have to allow that person who is evolving as a soul in what I call soul school. Life is a school. Every situation and everyone is your teacher. You have to allow that person the dignity of their process and be willing to hold the space. One of the most things you can do, the best things you can do, is to be willing to hold the space of love and compassion. You can give them input, you can give them your advice, you can give them your experience, you can give them your perspective, but you can't do it for them. You can't do it for your kids. You can't do it for them. And if you try and do it for them, what you'll realize many times too is in that over responsibility, now you're becoming over responsible, is sometimes you will rob that person, you will rob that friend that you love of having to go through the experience, to face the consequences and learn some lessons, whether it's heartbreaking, whether it's a bankruptcy, whether it's a challenging situation, whether it's something you think they didn't need to go through, to really trust that if they're going through it, there's some part of their souls that needs to go through that, because that's part of their lessons in this lifetime. It's not always easy, it's not always pleasant, but what you can do is hold the space. And I believe that when you stand in humility, it's like, I'll hold the space for you, even though I see around the corner, even though I walked your path before, and I can potentially help you not make the same mistakes. One of the things I think is important is we stay truly committed to another person, but we also rest in the humility of, I don't know what your path is. I don't know what you should be doing. I don't know if you should not be in this or be in this. I don't know, but here's my perspective. And I believe when you can show up with a space of loving and not impose your judgment of what you think that person's life should look like, and just show up in love, then that human being, that person, that friend will feel your love. They will feel your compassion. They will feel the space that you're holding, and the space that you're holding becomes a safe space for them to grow and evolve and maybe learn the lessons they need to a lot more quickly. It doesn't help to say, you see, you're not doing it right. You see, I told you so. So hold the space. So remember, trust life, trust their soul's lessons, and step back. And when you do that, then it forces you to focus on your own growth, your own evolution, your own awareness, your own becoming your own most evolved, authentic, and most magnificent self. So when you stop taking on the responsibility for another person, for their growth, for their evolution, and doing it for them, so to speak, you take a step back and you actually serve their souls a lot more, because in that space you force them to evolve, you force them to face themselves, you force them to deal with consequences, you force them to stand on their own 2 feet and become who they really are. So always ask yourself, is how I'm showing up in my over responsibility and caretaking for someone, is how I'm showing up truly serving another person's soul? Is how I'm being serving their evolution? Many times when we're over responsible, over caretaking, taking it on too much, then we rob the other person of the growth that they need to go through in their lives at this point. Let go of being responsible for other people, and as you then focus the energy back in on yourself, you claim your power and become the highest version of yourself. And you also realize that yes, we are connected, we are interconnected. Who I am has an impact on you, who you are has an impact on me, and the key word is and this is my process and this is my life and that's yours. It's not either or, it's this is my life, that's your life, and we are interconnected, and who I'm being may have an impact on you, might inspire you. But if in order for someone to change, in order for someone to grow and evolve, in order for another person outside to shift their situation, they have to be committed, they have to want it, they have to step up and make the choice. And many times we're busy being responsible for people that haven't committed, haven't decided to change their lives and don't really want to, and we're putting that on them. Give that back to them. You can't change anyone unless they want to change. So my friends, take your power back. Give every single person their power, and trust the process of life. If you've enjoyed this video blog, please do share it with your friends. Sign up, share it. You'll be receiving regular videos from me on a weekly or every 8 to 9 to 10 days. Sending you lots of love, big hugs, and love now.